What's up, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of Black Business Booming. I'm so excited to keep doing this. Thank you to everybody who's watching the episode. Thank you to all my past interviewees and all the future. I appreciate you all. I encourage you to like, share, subscribe. I'm going to keep on bringing these episodes and this segment that I do on my YouTube channel. I'm excited about this just to give that platform to a lot of Black businesses that are booming. And I have another awesome guest again on this episode that I know personally. I'm so excited. I think I've pretty much known 90%, 95% of the interviewees so far on a personal level. So I want my beautiful guests to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself. Tell us who you are.
All right. So hi, everyone. My name is Deanna Fowler, and I am the owner of DeeCluttered Professional Organizing. So I'm happy to be here today. Thank you for having me, Mike.
Awesome. You are so welcome. Another Blazer in the house.
Yeah, that's right.
Go Blazers, UAB, family. So DeeCluttered. So tell us about or when you started your business. So when did you start the business and kind of what inspired you to do so? And I guess tell us a little bit about what that is, because someone may hear that name and say, okay, well, what is that?
Right. Okay, so I started DeeCluttered originally in 2017, December 2017, as a side hustle. So like you mentioned, I'm a Blazer. I went to UAB. My business has nothing to do with my educational background. So I'm one of those people who, one, I have a couple of different businesses. So DeeCluttered is my passion. My background is in biology and public health. So I'm very much a science-focused professional as far as what I went to school for. But then most people, like Mike, like you said, you've known me for a long time, know that I am one, OCD, like not like how people talk about they're very particular. They're like, I'm OCD, like clinically right. OCD. So, and that's been something that, my friends and family have always picked up on. So it's something that I've taken a quirk about myself and kind of turn that into something that helps other people, which is, the center of everything I do professionally on, both ends of my professional career. But then too, it's something that has ended up being a little therapeutic for me. So it's, I like to put my little quirks and talents to good use. So it started out as a side hustle in 2017. 2018 was my first year really kind of pushing it. So I got on social media. I started telling my friends and family about it because I had always organized their spaces and helped organize and streamline like their schedules and their dreams and passions, kind of walking them through the process I use personally. But I just kind of really used 2018 to get the word out that I was doing this as a business. So it was really my side hustle until the pandemic hit. So my career has always been in nonprofit program management. So that's what I went to school for, in a roundabout way. But then with the pandemic, nonprofits were really hit hard by that. So I ended up being one of the millions of people who basically their job was downsized. So the affiliate, the local office of our national nonprofit was shut down. So this was something that was just a good, like, everybody's talking about pandemic pivots or whatever, like this was my pivot. Like I was fortunate and blessed to have something to fall back on. So starting about late May, when things started to be very clear that, my 9 to 5 was probably going to be, getting rolled back at some point soon, I really ramped up everything with DeeCluttered so that I had something to kind of carry me through whatever the rest of 2020 is going to look like.
Wow, that's awesome. The whole business is not only meeting the need of the people you serve, but yourself too. Like with your,
Right.
being OCD and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I guess so. If I were to sum it up, just hearing that and thinking about it, you help people declutter, organize, and take control of their lives.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I
So,
mean, that's awesome.
yeah. So, and I guess it's a little bit of a newer industry. It's been around for a long time, 20, 30 plus years, on a professional setting. And so you have people come into like your company, corporations would have people come in and kind of help them organize their structure and all of that. And so people took that and transfer that over to home life and personal lifestyle type things. And so it's, I work with primarily women, but a lot of men have started to pick up on, I want to live in a nice space too. Like I'm tired of searching for my stuff too. So primarily women, but I help them organize their space, their life. So that's more their schedule, the processes that they have in place at home, how they kind of go about day-to-day life. And then also I've started working with people on organizing their thoughts and dreams into a plan so that they can take something like I've done with taking my OCD and turn it into a business. So whatever they need to kind of get on a more orderly path to whatever their dream is, I help with that as well.
Wow, that's huge. You're a life coach too. That's
Yes, a little bit of a life
yeah,
coach.
that's that right there. It's really taking all of this fog and all the ideas that bounce around in people's head and
Right,
helping them to actually see it and organize it and to be able to function with all that goes on. So
right.
that is so awesome. Wow. I, I was listening to you talking, it's like, man, sold. Yes. Where do I sign up? So in starting your business and going back to 2017 and just getting started into it and to fast forward into May of this year, what was one of the most challenging things about starting the formation of the business and getting started as an entrepreneur?
Right. I think initially it was finding that balance because it was a side hustle. Um, because, I had a 9 to 5 job, 9 to 5, but anybody who's ever worked in the nonprofit field knows that it's not really 9 to 5. Like we had office hours, but then we might have, a fundraiser in the evening during the week. Or, so I worked for Susan G. Komen. So we had the big, race walk in October. So that was an all day thing on Saturday. So it was really trying to figure out how I could work with my non-standard professional schedule and fit my side hustle into that. So that was probably the biggest challenge early on. And then, of course, as I kind of transferred this over to a full-time business, it was in the middle of the pandemic. So it's like,
Yeah.
people aren't, we're supposed to be socially distanced, people aren't comfortable with someone coming into their home to help them organize their, physical items in their house. And then having a background in public health, I'm not really trying to leave my
Right.
house and, be out in other people's space because I understand it very, very clearly, like how all of this works. So just trying to take the pieces of the business that could be transferred over to like a virtual setting, figuring that out has been probably the biggest challenge this year.
Yeah. Okay. So, and man, I think that's probably across the board with anyone who's just starting out or
Mm-hmm.
maybe still new to business with 2020, this whole roller coaster of a year that we're in
Right.
right now. It's so crazy because we're already in August. It's like
I
the
know.
longest year ever, but it's also like flying by.
I feel like everybody says that same thing. It's like it feels like this has been like years of us going through like this situation with the virus and everything.
Right.
But then the year has flown by. Like I feel like it was just March
It really
when,
was.
you
It really
know, and now
was.
it's about to be the fall. So it's just been, it's just a strange year.
Yeah, it is, and I guess that kind of adds a challenge to it as well, because if you're in business or not, if you're still
Mhm.
working a full-time job, it's like it's Sunday night, you go to sleep, you wake up Monday morning, then it's
Right.
Friday. It's like, whoa, where
Yeah.
did the week
Yes.
go? So wow. All right, so
Yeah.
now with the business being started, and you're running it, you know, you're into this thing, you're head on into, what are some of the day-to-day challenges? So now that this form and now that you're doing, and I guess some of it would still be the same thing with us living in a pandemic right now, but what are some of the day-to-day challenges of running your business?
Well, I am introverted. So, but I'm like an introvert who likes to do extroverted things. So, like the omnivert or whatever that
Omnivert,
combination
functional,
is.
functional introvert.
Right. So, and I like to kind of have a more behind the scenes role in things. And so that was very easy in, you know, like my public health career, because I could like sit back and develop programs and then bring in other people to help me, you know, carry those out. Versus this, when you're the business owner, like I have to be on Instagram promoting myself. You know, that's not a natural thing for me. I don't really like to, um, you know, promote myself, I guess. Like, I
Right.
know I do cool things, and I know, you know, that I've done things that I'm proud of and other people are proud of me about, but I don't necessarily like to talk about that. But if you're a small business owner, you have to promote your business. And in the age of social media, that's really promoting yourself.
Yeah.
It's very hard for businesses to, you know, gain a following if you don't put yourself out in front of the camera, and like you're not the face and they're not seeing you. People like to see like your day-to-day life, you know,
Mm-hmm.
things outside of just what you're doing with your business. And so that's probably been the biggest challenge for me, since switching over to being a full-time entrepreneur, because that's not natural
Right.
to me. You know, I feel like small business life is perfect for people who are, you know, more extroverted, and they like to, you know, be out in front of the camera in the mix and everything, because they already had that marketing piece on
Mm-hmm.
lock. So that's been more of a growth area for me, I think.
Yeah, and I like that. I love that word you just used, at growth area, you know, because that's
Hmm.
one way to look at it too. It can be a challenge, or it can be, you know, an opportunity for growth, you know,
Right.
that's corporate talk, right?
Hmm.
Corporate say,
Yeah.
well, we're not looking at it as problems, but it's opportunities and everything. So
Right.
that's awesome, even with to have that mindset, because I think that is very important in entrepreneurship, to have that mindset that, okay, here's another opportunity to grow. So I love that. When you said that, I was like, yes, growth. I like that.
Yeah.
Um, so in contrast to the everyday challenges, if we look at the other end of that spectrum, what is the most, or some of the more satisfying things of your business and being an entrepreneur? Like, what are those qualities and those things that you just, you know, it makes you excited, makes it all worthwhile?
Right. So I think as far as, you know, satisfying parts of my business, it's really just being able to help people. Like going into someone's home and seeing that things are just chaotic, and, you know, they're stressed because it's chaotic, and they, you know, they've been trying for however long to get it under control themselves, and then just helping them work through that process, that they feel like, you know, this is, it can't be done. It's an impossible situation. I'm always going to have to live like this. And then they see the end product, and it's like, wow, like, I mean, it wasn't that hard. I don't know. A lot of people say, well, I don't know how I couldn't just do that myself, you know? So just seeing that relief, um, on people's face when they, see their space more organized, and, you know, clutter, impacts your focus, it impacts your mood. If you're, some people are content in a more chaotic space. There are those people who they feel like, it might look like a mess, but I know where everything is. And if that is you, then, that's perfect for you. But then most people, it weighs on them.
Mm-hmm.
It's something where they feel like they can't relax when they get off work and come home because they feel like I need to clean this, or, my home is never clean, or whatever. So getting people to that point of, relief and satisfaction with their space is really satisfying to me. And then too, with entrepreneurship, even though I've always worked in, the nonprofit field, and it's a little more flexible than, like a corporate setting, the flexibility of, setting my own schedule, making time in my day for things that are really important to me. I've been able to, spend more time with my family, even during this pandemic. If they need me to do something, I can head down to Montgomery and see my parents in case of an emergency. And it's not, worried about PTO or all of that. It's that freedom is probably the most satisfying part of just entrepreneurship in general.
That's awesome. So kind of off the cuff, when you were talking about that, right? That satisfying thing of just going in someone's house and seeing from being unorganized to the organization. Mm-hmm. This is just something I thought of. Are you able, so it made me think of something when one of the churches we went to, I was in the sound ministry. So I would mm-hmm. be the one that's working the soundboard and all that stuff. And what happened is, after a few years of doing that, I couldn't go anywhere, concerts or whatever, and hear feedback or hear mm-hmm. frequencies. And I'm like, is no one going to fix anybody right. hear that? Fix that. So it just made me think of it just randomly. Can you turn that on and off? Like, are you constantly seeing that? Is that thing constantly in your mind when you're at your family's or friend's house?
Right. Yes. So no, I can't turn it off. Okay. So that has always been my issue. And so, I'm very, so, everybody's OCD is different. So one of my quirks as part of my OCD is spatial alignment. So if something, I can tell to very close degree, when something is off center or it's crooked or something like that. So, and this is a funny story. So Fee and our line sisters, Mike's wife is my line sister. So we would hang out at my apartment, the last apartment I had while we were all still here in Birmingham in school. And so I had elephants that were lined up on a display, a console table. And so they would mess with me and rearrange, move the elephants just by just half, not even half an inch or quarter of an inch, just barely, knowing that I would at some point during the night notice that it was off. So even then, in my personal life, when people come and visit my house, when my family is here, I'm constantly straightening things or things like that. So no, I can't turn it off. I'm always but I know now, since I've been older, probably the last 5 years or so, I have a better appreciation of the fact that not everybody needs perfection.
Yeah, definitely.
I do. And I appreciate that in other people, because I wish I had less of the perfection force working on me, So it's not to the point where I'll straighten other people's things, because right. I used to do that in my parents' house all the time, or my close friends, I would straighten things up. And some people, they appreciated that. They were right. Come to my house because I know you're going to clean something for me, but I don't have as much of that anymore, because I can appreciate the opposite end of what I am, I guess, in that sense.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think So if you talk to any of when I was full-time in personal training, if you talk to any of my clients, they would tell you that I'm the most OCD person ever, which I'm
Mm-hmm.
not, because mine is different in the sense that I was an artist, a musician, all these things. So mine is about visual, kind of
Mm-hmm.
visual OCD and stuff, in particular with counting, different
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
volumes on the radio. And so the mat would have to be a certain way. They're walking around, they'd be like, Mike was in here, to the floor.
Right.
Like it's, so I would say that I'm the type that I could live with it, but it's interesting because I hear so much of, when you were saying that, I hear so much of it, like, yeah, I look at something, I can look in the background even right now sitting here and I can see what's off, but it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, let it
Yeah.
go. So, and that took me a while to get to that point, but yeah, I think it does. It helps. It kind of balances you out to
Right.
realize that, okay, there are some people on the other end of the spectrum and maybe I don't have to be that particular about this thing.
Right.
So
Right. Because it's exhausting, like
yeah,
and like I said, it's an outlet. Doing this is an outlet for me because, it takes some of that urge off of me to straighten something or organize something when I'm helping somebody else. So um, you have to find some kind of middle ground or you'll drive
right.
yourself crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Then you'll be needing therapy for your organization.
Right,
Like,
right.
man, what are you here for me with me today? I'm too organized. Wait, what?
Yeah.
So
No.
yeah. So okay, now with being in business, being a full-time entrepreneur and everything that you do, and I say that purposefully, everything that you do, because as a business owner and full-time entrepreneur, you do a lot.
Hmm.
What is
Right.
that advice that you would give to that person, that young woman, that young man, older, that's watching this, and they're right on the verge of maybe launching out into entrepreneurship or starting a business, but it's like, oh, I don't know, or even if they just got started, what is that advice
Right.
that you would give someone that's launching out into business and full-time entrepreneurship?
I think the biggest thing is to make sure that whatever you choose to do, you choose something that you have a passion for.
Mm,
Because it's hard. It's hard having a small business. It's hard um, forcing yourself, like I said, like that growth area, like forcing yourself to work at something that you really don't like. When you're working for someone else, you can kind of um, choose positions that fit you the best. But when you're running your own business, you have all these different hats and you have to do all of them unless you get to a point where you can hire that out. But you have to get through these starting stages first to even get to that. So it's just really important, I feel like, that you choose something that you're passionate about and that matches your gift, whatever that is, because it's a hard process and you're going to just have to push yourself. But it's easier when you love what you do.
mm,
So I know, different things are trendy right now. It's really easy to start, like a hair business or, like a boutique or something like that. But I wouldn't be good at that because that's not my thing,
right.
like it's not, I don't really like, it's just not my thing. So I wouldn't be able to push myself to grow that business because it's not my thing. So I think that's probably the biggest piece of advice I would give someone. Find something that matches your gift, your talents, and something you love. And you'll find an audience for that. You'll find um, people who, you know, they would love to have whatever that is about you, but they don't. So they're willing to pay you to do that for them. So I think
I
that's probably
love
the
that.
best thing.
I love that. It's something I say often with my 5 P's, but it's that second and third, to let your passion pin you to your purpose. Because
Hmm.
when I talk to people or when I'm coaching or anything, well, how do I do this? How does be you? be you, live out your story, and you put out your authentic self, you know, your unapologetic self, and the people who need you, they will come when you
Right.
put yourself out there. And I feel like people also see through insincerity, or they see through
Right.
the facade and the mask that we put on.
Hmm.
Um, Funny to say mask or anything metaphorically
Right.
about mask in 2020, but the mask that we put on, people can't see, they don't see the real you. And so with
Right.
that, that is good advice. And that's came up a couple of times in past interviews too. And I think is one of the most important, you know, other than the advice of, hey, just do it, get started,
Right.
do it, but be passionate about what you do. Don't choose
Hmm.
something, oh, like you said, because it's trendy. Because if Mike and D started a salon right now, y'all gonna be jacked up.
Yeah, like, it's not our thing. So,
Right.
and like you said, it's important to just get out there. And that made me think of probably another piece of advice is to have a plan. So and I'm a planner, that's part of, being organized and all that. But it is important to have, a strong plan. You don't have to have it down to like the very smallest detail and like hour by hour what you're going to do, but just have some type of plan, put some time into researching how to go about doing things, how to get things started, but then don't get so stuck in perfecting your plan that you don't
Mm,
just jump out there.
yeah.
Because I think, that was a little bit of my holdup with some things, that I had wanted to do with DeeCluttered as a side hustle, because I never felt like I was ready. So I was pushed, that's what ended up getting me here. But it's important to have a plan. But like you said, once you have a good plan in place, to go out and just jump out there and go for it.
Man, that's good. I like that. I like that. I love these interviews because it gives me so much. You know, it's when you're talking, or you yourself take what you do with your business. When you help someone and you walk out of that house, or you walk out of that meeting, or that planning with someone who's completely unorganized, and then, like you said, that satisfaction of seeing them light up, or you walk out thinking, "Man, I did that." That's the same energy I feel with doing these interviews, because I get so much, and it's like I'm reading a book over and over again
Right.
of, you know, it's when you all these self-help books or inspirational books for entrepreneurs and business
Hmm.
owners. That's these interviews for me. So I love that. That is awesome. I'm gonna go back and watch this one over and over again as well. So what's the next step for DeeCluttered? What's next for you in your business?
Next steps. So, I have a couple of things that like I said, there were some ideas I had early on that I just never really saw through. So one is a series of ebooks. So I love working with clients. Like I said, I love that feeling of, completing a project and seeing the final outcome. But I also, when I work with them, I like to try to empower them to, maintain this. So walking them through steps and tips and just, suggestions on, this is how you live your life. These are some things that would fit into your life that'll help you maintain this. So I feel like ebooks, I have some ideas on some things, taking some of that client interaction that I have with people during a project and putting that into a different format so that it's more accessible to more people. For whatever reason, maybe they don't want someone to come into their house, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
they don't live in, the Birmingham area, even though before I was working outside the area, but who knows how long this pandemic is going to happen. So,
Right.
it's getting that same kind of process of empowering people to be more organized into a different format. So ebooks is one thing. I know they say, and we'll see how this goes, that it's easy once you have an ebook to kind of translate that into a course. So courses might be something else, but definitely the ebooks. And then um, I'm working on something that hopefully will be rolling out the next month. That's a little bit more personalized for people, where they get monthly attention and support for me. So that'll be more like a kind of like a membership type thing where it's not maybe a big project, but just getting to know people and supporting them in smaller ways each month. So
Awesome. I love that. Yes, Decluttered is coming at you. I
I'll
love it.
try.
So, any other information, and let people know how they can see what you do, find out more about your business, and let everybody know how they can find Decluttered.
Yeah, so my handle on Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook is DeeCluttered. So it's DEE cluttered. So it's an extra E in the DeeCluttered. So that's it on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. So that's probably the easiest way to just kind of see what I'm doing from day to day. I post daily. So, I have tips and tricks, as far as staying and getting organized. I kind of post some inspirational shots from projects I've worked on, things like that. So that's the easiest way to follow me. I have a website that's also DeeCluttered, so it's DeeCluttered.org. So you can always reach me that way. Either of those ways you can reach out, send me a message, DM, whatever, and we can get in touch that way. And then if you do start to follow me, my birthday is next month. So I am a September baby, and I am going to be doing a lot of things that are client and follower focused. So, some special deals on things that I have going on. Like I have that's something else that's new, I guess, a custom vinyl label. So, people see like the organizing labels on, storage containers and like glass food storage containers, and, pictures of kitchens and things. So I do custom labels that are a little more, I don't know how to say this. A lot of things that are out are similar in how they look. And so I'm not really like the farmhouse rustic decor type girl. So you'll see more like tribal influence things like that. I like vintage things, so you'll see fonts like that. So I'll have a lot of different specials and deals going on as I celebrate my birthday. I figure I'd celebrate it with my business and the people who support me, since I can't really be out here, traveling in the streets with the pandemic. So,
man, that's awesome. I think that's so cool to do it that way. And I'm going to make sure I'm taking notes. Watching September, I'm going to make sure I don't miss anything. I think that's awesome. And so everybody make sure you follow, go connect, so you won't miss any of that. And I also just love what you're doing with everything on social media. It's like, it's definitely worth the follow, even for the inspiration of, the inspiration of organization. So that's so awesome. I wish you the best and much continued success in everything that you do. And I thank you for doing this interview. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this. I really do appreciate it. And it always makes it worthwhile to have fam on. I say this all the time, and I think I've said it in multiple interviews, that it's one of those things where I tell people all the time, I don't need you to tell me what Black people are or are not doing, because I know what my circle is doing. I know what my family, my friends are doing. And again, it goes back to me saying like 97, maybe 95%, I'm throwing something out there, 90% of the people I've interviewed, I know personally. And, so we're coming up fastly approaching 20 interviews. And so I don't need anybody to tell me what's going on or what ain't going on. So I definitely appreciate it. Definitely thank you. I encourage people to go get connected with you, see everything that you have going on. Anything else you want to leave the people with?
I try to encourage my clients by just saying that all you have to do is get started. You know, there's no step or effort that's too small. Just get started. And once you get moving, you know, you start hitting those milestones. And then before you know it, you're at the end. And it's just like, why didn't I do this, you know, a month ago, a year ago?
Yeah.
So just, you know, having faith in yourself that maybe you can't tackle a huge project at once, but you can make one or two small changes that will help you get to that bigger goal later on.
Awesome. Mic drop. Yes, love it. Again, thank you for the interview, for doing this today. And thank you to everybody who will watch, who has watched. Again, I encourage you to like, share, subscribe. More awesome interviews coming. And we thank you. We'll see you next time on Black Business Booming. Peace.